ready for Valentine's Day with this easy heart wreath illustration. Hey friends, welcome back. My name is Laura Beth Love, and I'm an artist and Penguin Random House author, and I love to create fun art and craft projects and share them with you. I've been sharing all different types of heart projects these past few weeks in celebration of Valentine's Day and in celebration of love in general. So I thought you might like this simple illustration that you can personalize to make it your own beautiful work of art. I promise this is simple, so no matter what your skill level, you will get great results. The supplies we'll be using are simple. All you need is some watercolor paper or mixed media paper, a pencil, an eraser, and some black pens or markers. I'll explain exactly what I'm using as we go along, and of course I'll have everything listed in the description below as well, so you can check that out too. Now to get started, the first thing we're going to do is to draw a circle on our paper, and we will use that as a guide for our wreath. As you can see, I am simply tracing around a bowl. So if you have a plate or a bowl that's around 5 inches or so, you're going to want a little space between the edge of the bowl and the edge of your paper. So find an item, or you can actually freehand draw the circle if you like, but I like to use a guide because it makes it nice and neat. And once you have your circle, you're going to just start sketching branches. And because we're using a circle as our wreath shape, to make a branch, you're basically just tracing over the circle. So I'll do a few inches at a time, and then to create the leaves, you're going to make a small oval-shaped leaf on one side and then its companion leaf on the other side. So you have a leaf outside of the circle and inside of the circle. And it's very simple. You can practice them as doodles. I practice them all the time when I'm writing my list of things to do. I love to draw little vines and leaves around the corners. And what I want you to know now is what we're drawing in pencil is not our final artwork. This is just a quick sketch. And later on, we're going to trace over it, and it's going to be a neater copy. And that's when we'll add our details, but let's not put the cart before the horse. So we're going to do this quick sketch. I'm using a regular mechanical pencil, and the type of eraser I'm using is from the art store. You do not want to use a regular pencil eraser or an orange or red eraser because that will leave a mark on your paper and it could even smear your pencil. So you want to use a kneaded eraser or a white plastic eraser. So going around our circle, I'm going to make some little hearts here and there, and they don't have to be perfect. The whole point of this quick sketch is that we have everything on paper where we want it. We want to make sure that we have a balanced look to our wreath, that we have, enough hearts in, 1 or 2 flowers, and like I said, we're going to go over it all in ink later on, and then it's going to be our finished project. So as you work your way around your circle, making leaves and adding hearts, you're going to break away from that circle and make some tendrils that will trail down into the center of the heart, and also 1 or 2 at the bottom of your wreath. Now on those little tendrils, I followed the same leaf shape and pattern that I did around the outside of the wreath. So it looks like the same kind of branch that's just breaking away and going down inside the center of the circle. And at the bottom of that tendril, instead of putting a flower or a blossom, we put a heart. And we're going to tie it all together with lots of hearts around the wreath and at the bottom of those tendrils. Now I'm going to grab my pens, and I'm using Micron marker pens, and I have size 5 and 3 and 8. And what I'm doing is I'm going to trace very carefully and more slowly. I'm going to be drawing a lot slower than I did for my sketch. I'm taking my time and I'm using more precision, and sometimes I'm even drawing outside of the sketch lines. I'm kind of cleaning things up. I'm making my hearts neater and my leaves neater, and I'm just going around and using the pencil as a guide. Like I said earlier, when we're all finished, we're going to erase all the pencil marks anyway. Now there's two main types of leaves that we did in this wreath. The first one are the ones I'm going over now, which is basically very simple loop or an oval shape. And the way you make this is you're going to finish the loop at the same point where you start. So you're going to go down like you're drawing an oval, but then you're going to bring it up and end right where you started. So the other type of leaf is more like a rose petal, where I draw one side and it comes up to a point, and then the other side and it comes up to a point. And you will see me go over those in a moment as well. For the hearts, once again, I'm trying to make them nicer and neater. And for this blossom, it's very simple. You're going to start in the center, make a dot, and then you're going to make a wavy spiral. And you can make it larger, you can make it smaller, but as you see here, I'm just going around and making like little varied waves in there. You can make it smoother if you like and not do the little waves. That's fine as well. And here is how we draw that other type of leaf. It comes up to a point. You're simply drawing one side, the other, and then I'll draw a vein down the center with little offshoots as well. So here you are again, you can see how I finished that off, and it's very easy. I'm using a number 5 micron pen to do this inking. I think I started with a 3 and then I switched it out. It's all personal preference. A lot of times you want to save the really fine, lighter, thin lines for adding your details. And, I don't like to go too heavy. I kind of like middle of the road. And the nice thing about these is if you want to paint over them, you can, and this ink will not smear. And that's the reason I suggest that you use either watercolor paper or a mixed media paper. Now, use a mixed media paper that you are able to paint on, and it will tell you on the pad, it'll say, for watercolor. And that way, if you decide to add some color to your wreath, if you decide to use watercolor paints, then the ink will not run and you will have the right paper. So this paper also is great for making cards. So if you were to size this down, maybe make it half the size, that size paper that I'm using there, maybe fold that in half. So it's like a standard card size. That works great too, and you can buy packs of envelopes at the craft store. So these again are those 2-part petals where I do the left side and then the right, and I bring them up to a point. Very simple, easy, repetitive. I make Ukrainian Easter eggs known as pisanki, and a lot of that is the same kind of pattern drawing. So you're drawing, lines, very basic shapes, and when it comes together, it's just beautiful. Now here we're going to go over the second large blossom. Again, you can see that I'm not sticking exactly to my pencil line, and that's okay. And here we are with those pointed leaves. Make sure you put a vein inside of it to give it that nice little detail. Now another thing to consider is this artwork doesn't have to be specifically for Valentine's Day. You can create this for a bridal shower, for a wedding, or just as a pretty piece of artwork for your home. You could even transform this into a birthday card for someone special. And I just love the idea of being able to make your own cards. Like I said, get a pack of those envelopes that they have at the craft store, and then cut your paper down so that your card will fit, and those make wonderful cards. It's so great to be able to make your own in a pinch. And these next leaves that we're going to finish off are the same as the smaller ones. They are just large ovals. I'm going to start at one point, pull it out to make an elongated oval, and then I'm going to end at the same point. So once I finish this little tendril, all we have to do is those last few leaves, and then we can start erasing. And that's the exciting part. That's the part where it really starts to come to life, and you can see how all of your patience and hard work pays off. These larger leaves are my favorite. They always remind me of a fern. And years ago, I did some watercolor paintings of some large ferns like this. I think they're still in my Society 6 shop. And in different colors. I did like green, and then I did some that were like blue and purple, and they're actually really cool. So finish off those leaves. If you want to put a vein through the middle of these larger leaves, that can be a good idea as well. Gives it a little bit more detail. Now is your chance to, eyeball it and see, where does it need something more? Can I fit another little heart in here or there? Does it, have enough? Am I happy with it? So I'm going to go over to this side, and I'm going to do the same thing with this little trail of leaves. I'm going to add just a simple line to make a vein through the leaf. If you're used to doing these types of drawings and you have some experience, you can go ahead and freestyle it and add in your own little motifs and details wherever you see fit. I would love to see how your final project turns out. So, you can leave a message below. You can post a photo on my Facebook page at Dysfunctional Designs. And now we get to the final fun part of taking our kneaded eraser and going over our entire drawing and erasing out all of our pencil. And if you look closely, you can see that when I did my inking, I really didn't go and follow my pencil lines very well, especially like on those leaves, and that's fine. And as I said, I really took more time when I did the inking. And now I'm going to give it a good once over. I'm going to look and see, is it balanced? Is it finished? Does it need anything else? Well, let's see. I think it does. I think it needs just 1 or 2 more tendrils just to fill in a little bit of space. I am going to write something in the center, and whatever you write in the center is completely up to you. You can write a name or a word, or you can just leave it as open space and not put anything in at all. I thought I would do a monogram, maybe like a big letter L, or, a word, and, I ended up doing love. So feel free to copy mine the way I did it, or do it however you like. And if you don't want to put a letter or a word in the center, you can always make your tendrils a little bit longer, maybe do some little trailing hearts. Think about it. Try it out in pencil. If you don't like it, you don't have to ink over it. You can always just erase it. So here you can see I took my pencil and I just carefully drew a large letter L, and then I'm grabbing the ink pen and I am very carefully and slowly going over it. And I think that turned out pretty well. I think I kind of was surprised at how well that L turned out. And so after erasing it, I'm going to finish off the word. I'm going to write the OVE in pencil, and then, I'm taking more care when I'm doing the lettering than I am, like I said, with the pencil doing the quick sketch of all, the wreath. I'm taking my time. I want the letter to look good. I want the lettering to look nice. And so I'm going to look at it again, and I think it's a little bit light. So I'm taking my heavier pen and I am going over it a second time. And, I took a chance doing that. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to stick to that line and make it nice and neat, but it turned out pretty well. I think because I had been doing all that drawing, that I was nice and steady and I was able to pull it off. So again, going over the rest of my word. And another thing that I forgot to mention earlier is that, before you erase, make sure that your ink is all dry. It only takes a second to dry. And there's our finished artwork. I hope you liked this tutorial. If you did, give it a thumbs up. I really hope you try it yourself at home. And be sure to check back soon. I have another jewelry video coming up soon. I know a lot of people are waiting for that. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you next time.